All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted One-on-One Podcast, and I have a very, very special guest today. A reunion that's a certain amount of years overdue, I guess you would say. We won't say how many years, but let my guest introduce herself, and we will go from there.
This is crazy, right?
Yes, it is.
It's so
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yes.
Erin, thank you for inviting me to your Unscripted podcast. I can't tell you how happy I am just to see your face and be here today, for real. Yeah, so what was the question you asked? I'm sorry. I'm still
Who are
distracted
you?
seeing your face.
Who are you?
am I? Wow, we're going to go there. Okay, so do you feel a little nervous?
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Just
Yeah,
tell
do
us who
you
you
feel a
are.
little nervous?
What's
Okay,
that?
I got to get back to that. Do you feel nervous at all?
A little bit, but I've done a couple of these, so
Yeah,
it's not my first
it's just
rodeo.
so surreal to me. Like, I've known you for 30 plus years, you know?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's good to see you,
It's
my
great
friend.
to see you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And who are you again?
Okay, so back to that. Who am I? I'm a mom sitting in a minivan
Absolutely.
waiting for my fish to come out of swim practice. And I guess we all play a whole bunch of roles in our lives. So some of the roles, I guess, if I'm going to introduce myself that I have played, is a nurse. I'm a retired critical care nurse. A stay-at-home mom now. I'm a homeschooling mom. That's crazy. An unexpected homeschooling mother, and not pandemic homeschooling mom, like 8 years of being at home with my girls. I'm a mother
Wow. Yep.
of 3 teenage girls. 3. I've got isn't that funny? You get nervous. 13, 15, and 17-year-old. So my oldest, like you, is getting ready to take off for college. So
Yep.
we're in the throes of college application. So stay-at-home mom, homeschool mom. I'm a wife to Quinn, my husband. We've been married. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. I've known him for 32 years.
Wow.
Met him at the draft house at Kent State University. Teen night. He was 18, I was 19. Dancing like
Awesome.
Michael Jackson. He had me like this, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, so married for 20, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, which I know you were so close to coming down here.
So close. So close.
Oh, so close. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now. I graduated, you know, it's funny, Erin, I was thinking about this because I watched some of your podcasts over the last couple days. And this morning I was real thoughtful listening to 2 of your interviews in particular, because I know this month, the reason why we're actually talking is because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month for October. And you kind of reached out if we were willing, you know, if we wanted to talk about our moms a little bit. And it's funny. I didn't realize this, but, you know, going back now, I mean, I'm still trying to introduce myself, but I'm already jumping ahead.
Unscripted.
Sorry, that's what you do, right?
It's absolutely
like
perfect.
To a friend.
It's perfect. I love it.
Okay.
Yep.
So when my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, it was in I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So I don't remember a lot of the specific details that I think you would remember as a young adult.
Yeah.
I have my story that I know as a 15-year-old and how it affected me. But it's funny, I was thinking about this morning. I left Cleveland and I left Bedford as soon as I could.
Yeah.
Because it was so painful to be there.
Yeah.
After losing my mom to breast cancer.
Yeah.
And this is like the first time I feel like I didn't go to any of our high school. You know, I saw you Darren Carter's interview, which was amazing
Yeah.
to hear what he has done with his life as
Yep.
a young man. Um, and the 216, I consider myself part of the 216,
Always. You never leave it.
right?
Ever.
Bedford High School,
Ever.
go
Yep.
BHS. Um, but honestly, Aaron, I feel like it was kind of like going back to all of that stuff that I
Mhm.
felt like I kind of left, and we'll get into that in a little bit, I'm sure.
Sure.
But yeah, so I lived as soon as I graduated from high school, which was in 88. I went to Kent State University, got my bachelor's in science and nursing, met Quinn, my husband. We had a little short stint in New York, Virginia, and then we ended up living in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a really long time.
Wow.
Yeah, where I
Wow.
practiced as a critical care nurse, and then we moved back. Moved back to the East Coast to be near my husband's family. And I think I've shared with you before. We made some different choices with taking our kids out of public school to homeschool them 8
Mhm.
years ago, and then we also all made a decision as a family for a number of different reasons that we were going to modify a home in Raleigh to allow 3 of our families to multi-generational live on
Wow.
a beautiful piece of property tucked away in Raleigh. So I multi-generational live with my husband's family, his older sister, Nikki, and his parents. They just came home today from upstate New York, from their home up in New York, from being up there this summer. His dad's going to turn 88
Wow.
this fall. He's amazing. And his mom. So we multi-generational live too. So a lot of things I couldn't have predicted that were going to turn out. But
Yeah.
those are some of the roles I have played and I do play. But I would say maybe at my core, I'm an enthusiast of life.
Absolutely.
I like being
Absolutely.
alive, Aaron.
And
It's a
your
good
name
thing.
is?
Oh my God, I didn't say that. My name is Vickie.
That's right. That's right.
Vickie Mahi Takei.
There you go. There you
I
go.
didn't say my name.
It's okay. We're unscripted. Everybody knows who you are, especially those from Bedford will know immediately.
Oh my gosh, don't
So,
you love our class?
I do. I do.
Don't you?
So let me bring everybody kind of up to speed. So this is a reunion, like I said, a certain amount of years overdue, 30 for those keeping track at home. We were besties, I guess you'd call them nowadays, in high school. And then life happened. We graduated, and it happens to everyone. And there was about I was thinking about it today, 20 to whenever social media started, gap.
Was after us.
Right. And
Right.
so there was a gap between when we graduated to when I guess Facebook may have been our first connecting point, which that's the great part about Facebook. And we can go on a whole nother
Yes.
podcast about all the bad things about Facebook. But to be able to connect with people that you haven't seen in ages, and especially someone like yourself, which we were very, very close. And so to be able to connect and just see your beautiful family and that you're doing well and all those things. So just so everybody's kind of up to speed, that's where Vickie and I have been friends for many, many years, with a long vacation in between, just because of life.
Yep.
And so to come out on the other side and see, like I said, that you're doing so well was just awesome. And I'm thrilled for you. I've loved watching you and your family grow up, your daily walks and the pictures that you take on Instagram. So we keep in touch through those social media platforms and those things. And so there's a lot of stories about. We could tell the one about me. In 4 years, I never skipped school one time. I was the model son until NXS was coming in concert, and Vickie had to have tickets. And so I may have borrowed her car one day during lunch. I might have skipped school and gone and got NXS tickets because I couldn't go.
And
And
you
so
didn't
I
go.
couldn't go. I wasn't allowed to go because it was the devil's music. So And it may have been, I don't know, but
In excess of all bands, right?
right?
That we listen to.
That's right.
Yes,
But I mean, they did have a song called "Devil Inside," but that's a
they
whole other story. Whole nother
they
story.
did.
But
That is true.
so Vickie was kind enough to get me a T-shirt, which I absolutely wore until it was cheesecloth. I mean, I
Oh,
wore it every day, I think, because I wanted everybody to think I went to the concert because I wasn't allowed to go to the concert. And so so I wore it every day. Wore it in college. I cut the sleeves off it after I graduated
oh,
college. I mean,
Aaron.
that thing was, I think it just finally disintegrated.
Oh,
But I love my NXS T-shirt, and and the story behind it was fun. So
oh,
we had a lot of fun, and some of the best memories are those days. And I think, as you said, my invitation to you was, well, one, I even if we didn't talk about this, but my invitation to you was the memory of going through that in high school with you somewhat, knowing you as well as I did, and just knowing what this month means to everyone. So not to bring it down, but
I know.
I just thought for I didn't lose my mom that way, but I lost my mom, and so I know that's something we have in common is that my mom it was probably 10 years ago, so I was able to have her through high school and those things. So I guess I just wanted to ask that, like, as someone in high school, have that to walk through that season. And as you said, it was many, many years ago. So, science was different. All those things were different. But can you just share with this audience kind of what you walked through in that season as best you can remember? And let me pause real quick. And I do this a lot. That's why it's unscripted. First of all, thank you. I don't know if y'all realize she's sitting in a van in a parking lot down by the river,
Down by the
waiting on
river.
waiting on her daughter to come out of swimming. So
Yes.
thank you for taking time, finding time to jump on this, and be a part of this. And then also to, as you said, you left that behind. You left that story behind. And I mean, I'm in Columbus, so I'm not in Bedford anymore either. And I think we do that. But so thank you for one, being in a van down by the river, waiting on your daughter, and two, thank you for coming on and maybe revisiting something that you've maybe kind of compartmentalized.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. Compartmentalized. And so yeah, Aaron, I was listening to some of your other people you had on to kind of hear their stories. And I listened to Leslie, I think was her
Mm-hmm,
name.
mm-hmm.
And she was someone who I believe had been diagnosed maybe 3 years ago, had a double mastectomy. And then you had a really fun, spunky Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie is recently diagnosed
Right.
with breast cancer. I think,
Right.
I want to say maybe even like 6 to 8 weeks ago. So a very fresh diagnosis and just starting her walk
Yeah.
through navigating breast cancer. And like you said, what a different time to
Right.
be diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah.
When my mom was diagnosed, it was most certainly almost a death sentence. And now, especially with early prevention, people are living cancer free even
Right.
after being diagnosed with breast cancer. So very different time than what I experienced.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that and I was like, what perspective could I add to your podcast when your idea is to raise awareness for breast cancer? And I will offer, I think, the point of view of being a child of
Yeah.
a parent who
Yeah.
has breast cancer, and specifically a daughter of a mother who has breast cancer. And like I said, I was 15 years old when my mother was diagnosed, I believe. And like I said, some of it's a little like I think when you're a teenager, your world is a little here.
Sure.
So I don't know if I have all of the details exactly correct, but in my world, the story goes that she was diagnosed. It was quick. It
Mm-hmm.
was quick.
Mm.
I do have a couple journal entries of hers from a medication entry thing that she kept when she was sick, where we kept like how much Percocet we were giving her and pain medicine we were giving her.
Wow.
But it was quick. I want to say within the time she was diagnosed, from the time she passed away, it was probably about a year span of time. It was very fast. And I think initially when she got diagnosed, they thought all taken care of in her breast, but it was actually had metastasized to her liver
Mm.
and some other places. And I think once that happened, it was very hard to have a chance to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I was in the end of 10th grade when a lot of this was going on. And I remember the summer of going into our junior year, 1986. And I remember we had band camp and we had flag camp, like I was in the auxiliaries, I was a flagger. Fun, right? Good memories. And I remember that summer, my mom was going under chemotherapy. And I remember being at band camp. And do you remember Mr. Sullivan, our band teacher?
Yeah, he was at our reunion.
So yeah, I had a phone call to come get from like one of the places in the place where we were staying at band camp. So I went up and I got the phone call and it was my mom. And she said, hey, I hope you're having fun. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. Band camp's awesome. And she said, I just want to let you know, they're going to stop my chemotherapy. I just wanted to let you know that. And Erin, in my really, really like naive mind, I thought that was awesome. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
She's better. She doesn't need the chemotherapy anymore.
Yeah.
This was band camp in like July or August or something. It was before school started.
Yeah.
So I came home from band camp and Gina Miracle, I believe her and her mom dropped me off. That's another story. Dropped me off at home. And I came up the front steps and she was in the living room and there was a nurse there, like a hospice nurse. Didn't know what that was, right? And she took me outside to the back porch and, she said, your mom has chemotherapy, but therapy's been stopped. And I said, I know. She called me and she told me that's awesome. And she's like, no. She's like, they're stopping all of these things because they're not helping. And your mom has probably about 2 weeks to live. So now's the time that, if you want to say anything, if there's anything you want to share with her, like now's the time that you do that. And your mom couldn't tell you that. So I'm telling you. And Erin, she talked to me and my brother. She told me and my little brother at the same time. I was 15, so he was probably 11. And I remember going back in the house and she was laying on the her bed and we just wept. We just cried and cried and cried and it went fast. It went really fast. And I think as a child, and now I'm 50, and I don't back away from my years at all, Erin. I don't back away that it's been 34 years since my mom died. I don't back away that it's been 32 years since I met Quinn. Because when you lose a parent or you lose someone that young, I think you really quickly develop an appreciation. Some people don't. Some people, all of my siblings did not handle her death. We didn't all handle it the same. I mean, grief is messy.
Yeah.
Grief is messy.
Absolutely.
And my stepdad handled it one way and my brothers handled it another way. And my friends didn't, bless my friends. I mean, here you are with other 15 and 16-year-olds. What do you do with that? And I feel like I look back on that time now, like as a 50-year-old, and I look back on that. I think if I was going to tell another person, like, your one friend, she even said she was thinking about her husband when she was going through breast cancer. And you even said, like, God, I can't believe you were thinking about your husband when you were going through this. I think a lot of times that does happen, that like the person who's fighting the fight or who is sick, they do get a lot of, are you okay? Here, we're going to do that. There's a lot. and then you've got this collateral, the collateral around them, and
Yeah.
especially kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like children of people, especially mothers who are dying or have died or battling breast cancer, especially if they die, I think the grief, I think, what I wanted to come to be was like a voice for the child of the
Yeah.
parent
Yeah.
you've lost your parent.
Right.
And you truly, I think, become a breast cancer survivor
Mm-hmm.
in a whole different way.
Right.
I think from that moment, Erin, it really took 2 weeks before she died. She died in September of '86, and I was 15,
Yeah.
and she would have been 43.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right.
Right.
And I dealt with it the best I could,
Yeah.
and I look back on it now. And like I was saying, I look back on it now and I can appreciate as an adult now, kind of Darren was saying, his 25-year-old person is very different than his 50-year-old person.
100%. Yeah.
You
100%.
get wiser, you
Right.
can see things. And I can realize that what grief looks like. And like I said, grief is messy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look back now on my high school days. And when I ran from Cleveland, I think part of that was pain.
Yeah.
I think I didn't belong anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I lost our family just fell apart.
Mm.
Um, I had a best friend, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember Jenny Way.
Sure. Absolutely.
Jenny Lombardo now.
Yeah.
Her mom, people showed up. People showed up for me.
Yeah.
And she showed up and she gave me a safe place to land
Yeah.
for a few years to be safe,
Yeah.
and get through college and then launch off into my own life.
That's awesome.
But I can look back on that now and I can recognize, drinking
Mm-hmm.
and certain behaviors that I participated in and I did as a teenager that I felt shame about for a long time.
Yeah.
You're getting me like going back there, man.
Yeah.
I think now what I would say to a teen, like I can look at, if I was going to look back at me now,
Yeah.
I would give her a lot of grace. And,
Absolutely.
it was grief.
Yeah.
It was grief. It was
Yeah.
looking for numbing of pain. I mean, it's grief is such a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to escape it.
Yeah.
It's and it never goes away. Like, you talk about these 5 stages of
Right.
grief, but man, I don't know about you,
Mm-mm.
but it doesn't go orderly.
No.
It bounces.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And my life is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it is better than I could have ever hoped for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But man, there was periods of time where it was not.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
Yeah.
So being a breast cancer survivor, to me, as a child of a mother who died,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as hard as it was, being a motherless daughter,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether that's you lost your mom through breast cancer or you've lost her because she isn't accessible to you.
Right.
Maybe there's a lot of reasons why mothers check out from relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a tough place to be. And as a person, so you really have to find ways to care for yourself, that you would hope that a mother would be able to do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And again, I didn't lose my mom at that age or that way, but I'm an adult. I was an adult when I lost my mom, but at the end of the day, I still lost my mom. And at some point, I think I wrote a post about, I was just having a moment, and I wrote a post about sometimes a boy just needs his mom. Now I'm going.
Yeah.
That And it's no, a daughter needs her mom. And,
Yep.
we place a lot of emphasis over the years. I've read a ton of books on dads, and
Yeah.
absent dads and how important
Yeah.
the father is. And I'm not discounting that at all. I
Yeah.
100% believe in that. And then I think one thing that you and I have both done as I've observed and appreciate and respect and am so proud of you for is we pour into our family. Um,
Yeah.
and so, I think we both understand the importance of the mom and the dad role. Um, but there's days when you just need your mom, and
Yeah.
and sometimes there's more days than others. And like you said, I'll be doing fine, and then sometimes you just it's like somebody hit you with a fish. It's like,
Seriously.
what just happened? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't pick up that phone anymore. You can't have that conversation. And I love what you said about being a survivor because you're the survivor. And I think
Right.
people that walk through, whether it's a spouse, a child, a friend, a close friend, when you walk through someone going through cancer, you're not going through it. And I mean no disrespect to those that are going through it, but
Yes.
you said collateral. There is. You really feel everything they're feeling when you're close, and I'm going to
Yes.
have another friend on who we lost a close friend about 10 years ago with colon cancer. And same age, our kids are the exact same age. Just, it was like looking in the mirror. And I
Yeah.
don't know that I'm ever going to be over that. It was
Mm-hmm.
tough. And
Mm-hmm.
there's just a void, but that was a question I was going to ask you. And I think you answered it somewhat is there has, it sounds like there's been people that's what I always am amazed by. People have stood in the gap, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
my spouse, whether it's another mom, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's a friend. It's just amazing how someone always seems to stand in the gap as best they can. But at the end of the day,
Correct.
you never want to replace that void. Um, and it sounds like that happened for you. Did you have someone stood in the gap for you through high school, college, and then as you launched into being the person that you are today? Is that fair?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I call them my Jedi council of
Yeah.
women. Yeah. And I think they have all shown up and they've all been like uh I wrote this on one of my blog posts. They all were like Jedis of different parts of my being.
Hmm. Right.
Jedis of my heart,
Yeah.
Jedi of the soul,
Yeah.
Jedi of motherhood. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they've all shown up at different times to kind of try to, like you said, the best they can. And I don't think they ever did it intentionally. They
Hmm.
were just there to help me move forward,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. I have a handful of women that, and I think one of the cool things, I don't know if this has happened to you, I find it really helpful when you can find someone about 10 years ahead of you
Yeah.
because they can kind of give you that wisdom that you're trying. Like right now, you've got teenagers, you've got
Mhm.
daughters that are, you're a girl dad. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
Um, it's nice when there's someone that's ahead of you enough
Yeah.
that can look back at your shaky little scared being and say, it's all going to be all right.
Right.
Like what
Yeah.
you're worrying about,
Yeah.
it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, really, if they're here, if they're alive, if they're healthy, even if they're not healthy, if they're here,
Yeah.
it's all okay.
Yeah.
It's all going to be all right.
Yeah.
I think the gift when you have a parent die at a young age is that you very quickly learn not to sweat the little things
Hmm.
so much that you can just about handle anything. And becoming a survivor, I became very self-reliant.
Yeah.
I became very independent. I took care of myself.
Hmm.
And I don't think I really grieved hard because I was so in that like survival mode. Like, where
Yeah.
am I going to sleep? What am I going to eat?
Right.
How am I going to pay for myself? Like, even going to college, like picking my major. I guess I would say it's funny talking to you about this. Her death, when she died, I'm 50 now, and it still impacts
Yeah.
and is infusing everything I do.
Yep.
Like
100%.
every decision I make, like any of us, our story leads our way, you
Mhm.
know, whatever our story is. I mean, it's so beautiful the way you get all these unscripted people just telling their story.
Yeah,
Because, man, isn't it awesome to hear an ordinary story?
it's amazing. It's amazing,
Right?
and they're around us every day, you know,
Yes.
and that's the beauty of this thing is, and I don't know how long it'll go, but there's never gonna be a run out of stories. I could probably just go
No.
knock on my neighbor's door and say, "Hey, come over and tell me your
Yes.
story." I mean, and especially
Yes.
in the time that we're in, it's so negative and everything else. It's good just to hear stories. And so I don't know if anybody's listening to this. I don't know if anybody gets anything out of it. I'm loving it because one, I get to catch up with friends that I haven't
Yeah.
seen in a long, long time, and two, it's just good for my soul. It's good to talk to someone else who lost their mom and that understands that void that is left. Vickie, I can't imagine. I mean, I went off to college, um, and I did what people do when they go off to college, but it wasn't because I lost my mom. It was because I just needed to grow my wings and find my way. And it took. I don't even know if I've still found my way. And at least I try to think I tried to a little bit, but and that was with my mom at home. I can't imagine at that age. And the funny thing is, I don't remember. What I remember about you the most is first of all, we just hit it off, and
It's so much fun.
it was so much fun. I remember your maturity, like you said, you hit the fast forward button. I think you had to. You didn't have a choice. It was almost a
Right.
survival mode for you. But I just, because I'm not the most mature person in the world, I still, but surrounding myself with people that are mature, and so I think that's where we had a great connection. Was you were mature and solid and just grounded.
Oh,
You know what I
it's
mean?
so funny to hear you say the word solid with me in high school. I would not have used that adjective. I love it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
No, truth.
Wow.
Yeah, and grounded, I think is another
Uh,
word that and I
uh,
think I don't know if you heard another one of the again, not promoting my own, but
yeah.
talked about an anchor and a sail and how his wife was the anchor and he was the sail and how you need both. You need
Yeah.
sail to pull the anchor a little bit, but then you
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
keep the sail in place. That was so
Mhm.
good, and it was so true about my own spouse Heather and really just a lot of people in my life that have, because I'm
Mhm.
known as the king of restless. So the more people I can have that are anchors, I need a lot of anchors.
Yeah.
But I think that even at a young age in high school, I think um, that's what you provided as in our friendship too. So I know this has not been something that is probably easy to go back and visit. I don't often sit around and talk about it either.
Yeah.
Honor my mom, but at the same time, it just I don't like you said. I don't think you compartmentalize it, but it doesn't take much once you open that box to really go to places that
Oh yeah.
I don't think you ever get over it. Like I love what you said about
No.
5 stages of grief. And I don't know that there's one that you ever check that box and say, I'm good.
No.
Pass the test, I'm
No.
good.
No.
I don't know if you have that. I don't.
Yeah. I think I agree with you totally, Aaron. And you know, when I think back to when I was a kid who lost a parent, and out of respect for my family, because some of my family members are still alive, and I just respect their privacy.
Sure.
I was a lot like a lot of different 80s families. We had a lot of dysfunction in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And when she died, you felt like you lost everything,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and like, even like you're talking about going to college. Um, I remember picking my major and what I was going to do. And I went into nursing, which ended up being a phenomenal field for me. And I loved it. It
Yeah.
was a perfect fit for me. It really was. It served me well and I loved it. But I had a passion for dance. And
Hmm.
I did that too in
I remember
college.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think when you're in survival mode, unfortunately, you don't get the luxury of picking passion very often,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So like if I had a friend or I was looking at a family or I knew someone who had a mother that died from whatever,
Hmm.
not just breast cancer,
Yeah.
whatever. The child that loses the parent is going to need a lot of support,
Yeah.
not just at the funeral,
Yeah.
but like forever,
Yeah.
because there's a void there.
Mhm.
Right?
Right. And
Right.
I love the words you use, and that's grace. I think, knowing any child that has lost their parent, especially in high school, that, the some that we know, um, I think we got to give them grace,
Yes.
at the same time, you got to provide guardrails for them,
Ah,
but in the same time, you got to give them a chance to run into that guardrail, and you got to give them
yeah.
grace, because I don't know that any of us who have not walked through it can understand what that child is walking through.
Yes.
I don't.
It's like that quote, like, be kind because everyone's
Right.
fighting a battle that you don't know anything about. It's something like
Exactly.
that. I'm
Yep.
kind of making that up,
That's
but
fine.
it's
It's
something like
perfect.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's that when you see the person acting out, when you see the person drinking a lot, when you
Yeah.
see the person angry,
Yeah.
when you see, like, yeah,
Yeah.
handle with care.
Well, this has been awesome, and thank you for visiting that. I don't know what. Let me see. We got a few minutes before you're going to have a visitor in your van down
I
by the river.
wish.
So really quick before we get off, gosh, we got to do this again. Maybe not record it. I don't know, but let's do
I
this
would love
again.
that, Erin.
So, really quick, you touched on the multi generational. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Multi-generational housing. Can you tell us about that? Because I don't know that some people know it, myself included. What does that mean? What does it look like? What is that? How is it? Because I know now, last time I know you told me about it, and now you're in it.
Yes.
What's it like?
Okay. So multi-generational living, I think it's a lot like other countries do this, but like it's probably not as common in the United States.
Yes.
Maybe becoming more common because I've been seeing a lot of builders starting to even build homes with the idea of it being multi-generational, but it's pretty much just like what I just said. The grandparents, they're in their 70s and 80s, are living with their children
Yeah.
by choice,
Wow. Yeah.
in our 40s and 50s. And then we have our daughters, which are like their grandchildren, which are
Yeah.
another generation. And then my husband's sister, who's a little bit older than him, and her partner, you know, we modified a property so that 3 families live on this beautiful property. It's right on a lake. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
Right tucked into downtown Raleigh. And so the parents are below us, and I think a lot of us, our age,
Yeah.
little Generation Xers here.
Yeah.
For those of us that still have our parents, I think a lot of people are starting to delve into caring for our parents and what
Yeah.
is that going to look like. And I know for a lot of my friends, they're in this like sandwiched thing where they still have kids at home
Yeah.
and they're caring for their kids, and now with COVID, my lord,
Yeah.
caring for them full time. And then some of them, a lot of people still have jobs in our age,
Yeah.
full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And then the parents are aging, and it's a lot of pressure and stress for some of my friends because they are having to go to their house to
Yeah.
check on them. They're having
Yeah.
to take them groceries or whatever it is that they're taking them to the doctor's appointments, making sure that they're safe. So for us, we kind of decided as a family, for a number of reasons. All 3 of us had big houses, big, nice places we were living. We were maintaining all these things within like 5 miles of each other. His parents were aging, and we all just kind of decided we wanted to take a step off of the hamster wheel of suburban
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
and have a little more quality of time together. And really, it's been wonderful. We don't share any, like if you saw our house, the way
Yeah.
it's built, we don't share any common spaces other than our outside backyard.
Wow.
We each have our separate entrances. It's kind of like maybe a glorified townhouse in a way.
Yeah.
Everyone has
Yeah.
their own entrance and they have
Huh.
privacy. But at the same time, if my father-in-law comes home with groceries, my girls can run out and grab his groceries and take him downstairs for him so he doesn't trip going down the stairs in his flip-flops that he wears at age 88. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I do hear what you're saying.
They're the worst.
That's, though, but that's so cool because you're right. I mean, I think a lot of people, some people are stuck between daycare and then adult daycare.
Yeah.
And they're paying for both.
Yes.
That's really interesting. And then, we just talked about it. You need those people to step in the gap, whether it's a parent or an in-law or an aunt, an uncle. That's awesome that you all can be separate but yet together, especially in today's world. Like, who knows what's going to happen in November? Good Lord. But
oh man, seriously.
But
you want to come down? You want to come down? We'll build a Conrad suite.
You could do that, yeah. Well, I'm trying to get Emma to go. I'm trying to get Emma to apply to North Carolina. They want her, but I mean, it's Chapel Hill. Can
you imagine how amazing that would be?
It would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. But I think she's going to stay somewhat local. Or is that a word? Localer?
Local.
Or local. More local. Yeah, so all right, I teased this on Facebook, so we have to make sure we cover it. Who had bigger hair, you or me, in high school? Pretty sweet mullet.
Your mullet was rocking it, man.
That's pretty sweet.
I have to ask you, did you use hairspray on that?
It was Spritz, which is probably why like I do now. It was Spritz. I didn't use the Aquanet. And you said something.
The sticky little.
Yes, and then it would dry. The little.
And you had to put it under hot water.
And it was like you push it down, it'd be stuck. A lot of Spritz, a lot of hair, a lot of a hair dryer. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it was, because you looked amazing, right? Like that picture. It's funny. I showed my daughters today. I showed them that picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is my friend. Like, this is who I'm going to talk to today." And they looked and they're like, "That's you?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're just our mom. Like, we forgot that, like, you went to high school."
Right.
I was like, "Girls, you don't even know.
You don't even know the half of it.
You don't even know."
That's right.
I was part of the last generation that had freedom.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right. We lived in the age of excess, and it was awesome.
In excess.
In excess. Right. I just couldn't go to the concert. I just couldn't go to the concert.
We did.
It was you and Kara, right?
Yes.
And who else? Didn't I buy 4 tickets? Or maybe it was 2. I don't remember. I know you and Kara went, and I couldn't go.
Who would have the 4th person been?
I thought there was 4. Well, I know one of them wasn't me.
It wasn't.
I'm not bitter.
Aaron,
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all.
I wish you still had the T-shirt, I have to say.
I swear it might even be around this house somewhere.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a Smithsonian. That's like Smithsonian quality right there.
I just wanted people to think I went. That was all. I just wanted them to think I went.
That was music class. Wasn't that picture in music class?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think you were using a music stand, and I'll include it in the post. And before I forget, so I'll include what we're talking about for those that have no idea. I'll include it in the post so people can see what we're talking about. I think you were using a music stand, and I clearly was not studying, and it looks like you were hard at work studying, which is pretty typical of my high school years. That's why I got a 13 on my ACT. Yeah, it's what it is.
We never would have survived being students today. What these kids go through today, we never would have made it.
No, especially with the social media and the phone, and my attention span is just not that long, and so it would have been brutal. But I'd love to go back one day and just walk the halls. I really would. And I actually need to get back just to drive around. My parents don't live there. My dad doesn't live there anymore. But I'd love to go back and just drive around.
Wouldn't it be fun to go to a Friday night football game?
Yes, it would be so fun. And have you seen the new stadium since they built it? It's amazing.
I saw it online because you went back to the what do you call it, reunion, right?
One of them, the 25 year. Yep.
Yeah, and I saw some pictures posted of the stadium.
I just did the Friday night thing or whatever it was. I didn't stay the weekend. But it was enough. It was so fun.
Yeah. Did you do a little of this?
I did. I might have, the whole, Oh. Absolutely. Well, this was so fun. I know you got somebody coming out here any minute.
Yeah,
Thank
she's
you
probably
again.
looking for me because I parked like really far from the entrance, and she's probably like wander because these kids these days, they're not resilient like us.
That's right.
Like if you're not like right there, they don't have a clue how to like troubleshoot it. Like walk just a few more steps, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
That's right.
Oh my Lord.
Well, thank you for sitting in a van down by the river to record this. Thank you for your friendship, for people willing to go back and visit. A tough conversation, and my dog's barking, but
I love it. Hi, puppy.
It's unscripted. Anyway, thank you. Just thank you for everything. Thank you for your outlook. Like I said, your daily walks, the photos you take on Instagram. So follow Vickie on is it Rock On Living?
Rock On Living.
At Rock On Living. What is the blog site again?
Same thing. Rock On Living.
RockOnLiving.com?
Yeah.
RockOnLiving.com.
Yeah.
Great blog, great family, just a ton of life and so much joy. And one other thing. Thank you for the tickets to Tecumseh. Was that what we went
yeah. Yes. That's right.
So we had no idea. So just to bring everybody up to speed, because we have a lot of inside, jokes. We were at OBX, and your lovely family was going to come down and join us, and then your daughter had a bike accident, and you guys couldn't make it.
Right in half. Yep.
So you sent us tickets to something that you were going to go see down in that Outer Banks area.
Yes.
Called, I think it was Tecumseh, right?
The Lost Colony.
Yes.
Yes.
So cool.
We
had no idea what we were getting into, and it ended up being awesome. So
here she comes.
It's time. All right. Thank you.
Her glasses are falling off because of the mask she has to wear. She's a mess right now. Right. And she had to walk a mile to get to me.
So long.
It's going to be awesome.
We had to walk uphill backwards through snow. But whatever.
They don't know.
Whatever. I see her in the back. They don't know. All right. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you. We'll have to have you come on again, and we'll talk 80s music.
Thank you, Aaron. I love you, and keep doing what you're doing, because it's in the story, man. That's what's going to make the difference in the world is this.
Yes, absolutely.
Talking.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Vickie. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.